Hello, my name is Michael Brown, and I am the author of Hätte, wäre, wenn. Hätte, wäre, wenn was published in America under the name of The Perfect Moment by Button Shy Games. It also has one expansion called The Second Most Perfect Moment, which Button Shy Games also published. And it's my first game that I have ever gotten published, so I'm super excited to talk to you about it today. Now, when I was designing this game, I was thinking about a lot of movies where there's a time travel element and the protagonist goes back in time to fix a problem. And then when he's back there, he fixes the problem, but then it has unintended side effects. And so he causes some other problem, or maybe the fix didn't go off perfectly right. So he goes back again and tries again. And he repeats this process time after time until eventually he gets everything lined up right, fixes everything, the problem, any secondary problems that showed up. And then he can go back to the future and, everything's great. Movies that I used as source ideas are like Primer and Back to the Future. Now, one of the interesting elements is how the time travel theme works into the game. So as you're playing the game, in the beginning, you start with a deck that is of an unknown composition. It has 18 cards. You don't know which order they're in. And as you play the game, each turn, you take actions which will modify the deck in known ways. And so you can rearrange the top end cards of the deck, or you can put cards to the bottom of the deck, or you can take cards from other players and move them into the deck, or move cards around on the play surface. You have a lot of control over what happens, and so the person who's going to win this game is the person who takes the best control over the game state. And so you're stacking the deck to help you win. And it feels a lot like how in time travel, the person's like, oh no, I went and I tried to do it this way, but it didn't work. So I need to put this object over here so that I can pick it up as I run by next time and see if that works. So it fits the theme of the game, even if all of the cards are just random objects that you would need to complete your thing. None of them are like a time travel device. But these are the objects that you need to solve the problems that you are coming across in the game. Now, I started developing this game February 2017. Button Shy Games had a competition where they asked game designers to design a game that was 18 cards. And so I worked on it for about a year and a half before I turned my final version into Button Shy. And that was the version pretty much that got published. And so it had a decent amount of time that it was under development. And surprisingly enough, the game came together pretty quick, like first 2 times, and it was actually pretty fun to play. And then I continued iterating on it to try to just make it smooth and clean. Probably the hardest aspect of designing a game that fits in 18 cards and has a lot of complex mechanisms is just fitting everything on the card. Like the cards are normal size cards, and you gotta I either had to make my abilities really simple, or I had to figure out how to word them so that they fit in the small area that I provided for the wording of the cards. And so that gave me a lot of constraints, but it also fueled my creativity as I tried to figure out ways to make, interesting interactions fit in small areas. Yeah. So now I was asked how would I describe the game in 3 words, and that's a hard one. I would say probably it's like a brain burner challenge, because as you're playing the game, you're just sitting here like, okay, if I move this here and then I move that there, then I can use these 2 together to score this card. And you're every turn, you're just sitting here like trying to engineer what situation would allow you to fix the next problem that you've run into. So to me, that is the most fun part of the game. I really love games where I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, how do I plan this out? And then, after I've planned this out, how do I pull it off so that it'll actually work? And there's a solo mode and there's a 2-player mode. In the solo mode, in that you play against a echo, which is a copy of yourself, which is, messing up the time stream. And in that one, it has the ability to score cards really quickly and easily. So you have to maintain really strong control over the deck. And when two players are playing against each other, the relative skill level of the players will determine who wins, generally speaking. So you want to try to maintain control of the deck and try to make it so that you can get the cards that you need to score and deny the opponent their cards. So it is, to some extent, it is a competitive game because the players are they're fighting over these cards and there's only so many of them. But also there's no direct ways to attack another player. You basically, you're just all dealing with, this is all the cards that are out there. How do I, move them around to get them so that they're what I want? Now, what does this game have in common with other games of yours? Is another question that I was asked to answer. So all of the games that I've designed, I've designed a whole bunch of games, and this is the first one that's got published. So all of my games, pretty much, I like doing a lot of things with a small number of components. And I like players to have control over what happens. I don't like randomness to rule the outcome of the game, generally speaking, because that's not, to me, as fun. So to me, giving players the ability to win because they've figured out something better than other people, to me, that's the most rewarding type of game, where you're like, I won because I did something awesome, and not because I was just lucky. Some people like that type of game, some people like other types of games, but I'm definitely on the side of, I want players to have control over the outcome that they get. Now, the final question that I was asked was, am I working on other games of this size? And the answer is yes. I have a couple other games that are similarly small. I have a game that I'm designing called Infamous, which is it's a puzzle where players are trying to build they're mad scientists, and they're trying to build machines and gather minions to try to become the most infamous mad scientists out there. And it's a fairly small form factor game, and it is a complex game, but still, I'm trying to keep the number of components very low. I haven't yet figured out a way to pare it down to 18 cards. It's just a really hard thing, but still, it's not very many cards. Another game that I've been working on periodically is Hungry Oni. Players are playing as picnickers who their birthday party was crashed by an ogre, a Japanese ogre. And another game that I've designed, which is fairly similar in terms of component count, is Grab the Loot, where players are playing as pirates and they're trying to get more than their fair share of the loot. You're dividing up treasure that you've stolen from someone, and you're trying to get more than your fair share of the loot, but also your pirate captain is crazy and he's going to just shoot people if he finds someone that he doesn't like. So you try to not offend him, but also get more treasure than everyone else. That one's the most sort of party-like of my games. There is some randomness in that one. Anyway, so yeah, I have other games that I've designed that are similar in size to this. I also periodically design bigger games because I do enjoy a large game experience, but I do find the size of an 18 card game to be incredibly easy to carry around. Like, I actually carry around 18 card games in my pocket so that, if I'm at the store and I'm sitting down, I can be like, oh, let's just play a quick game while I'm waiting for something. And that is a really cool thing because, there's not too many board games that you could do that with. And so anyway, I am super excited that Frosted Games is publishing Hätte, wäre, wenn, and I hope that you guys enjoy it because I found it to be a really fun game to work on. Thanks.